Hello, everyone. Welcome to Smell My Podcast. Today, we have Tashi Krost, aka Tashi, the woman. Hi.
Welcome to Smell My Podcast, the John and Tim Show.
Hello, darling. Try.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. Come back.
Johnny. Cool. I love you. Tashi is one of my oldest friends, actually. We've known each other since like grade 1. Yeah. That's a long time. Very long. We used to swim in the pool for hours. So we had the only time we'd come out of that bloodshot hours. And we once or twice went to McDonald's on a Friday night because that's how we would roll. Yeah. So good times. And here we are. And here we are to have a life-changing conversation. Actually, and I went to school, primary school together. And I would tell you we're both semi-normal. Pretty much. Like within context. Yes. Going to different high schools, in different lives, whatever. And very recently reconnected as one does in the dance studio of our children. Because where else would two such professionals like ourselves go other than to do a dance lift? And with that, we started talking, not about nonsense, which I particularly enjoyed. Can't do, as you can tell, I can't do small talk. We started deep diving our lives, discovered that thankfully we still like each other, which is quite nice, 25 years later. And I discovered that Tashi basically nearly died. Well, seeing Simone, there's something about you that just made me open up like madly. And I was like, Sim, you don't know what I've been through. So, yeah, I told her the whole story. And that is why we are here today. Tashi is going to tell us her story because, for want of a better word, it is mad. No, that's a better word than mad. But it is. I was so inspired. As soon as we left dancing, I messaged you, and I didn't stop thinking about what you went through. And we started speaking on WhatsApp, and I just said, like, people need to hear the story, and we both feel quite strongly about the same kind of things, values, no such thing as a coincidence, being grateful, living your best life, feeling like you have a second chance. So we wanted to do something just to take it back. How it started is I said to Simone, your lips look fabulous. Yes, that's it. And I said, we need to live our best life because we're sure this is going to happen. Yeah. And she said, you do what you do to be happy. And that is when I went into the very hectic story of my 10-hour break. You have the floor. Tell us as much as little as you want to, and if I have a question, I'll interject. So I'm going to keep certain doctors' names private because I don't want to have a little lot. But I fell pregnant with my daughter, beautiful little nunchi, name's Emma, and gave birth with cesarean. And 3 months later, lying at home and had what they call a bombastic headache. Like no one can ever understand till you have it. Rolling in fetal position, no medicine at home would take it away. Went to the hospital, pethidine, morphine drip, nothing would take the pain away. No one be scared if you have a headache because trust me, you'll know. They had said to me, I need to cut your neck off. I would have said, okay, that's the pain. I did an MRI that night. They said that you have a cavernoma. It's a malformed blood vessel. It looks like a raspberry in the brain. And one of the little vessels has popped and you have a bleed in the center of your brain. That is why you're in pain. And they said it's nothing sinister. I went to a neurologist who told me that basically like a mole. You will live with it for the rest of your life. Most people have a cavernoma. I said to him, should I put it in my life policy? He said, not really. It's really nothing. Carried on. It also makes you feel like, okay, everything's fine. Yeah, like I even said to him, should I write it down? Like the way I remembered it was a Cavalier King Charles. So a spaniel. I thought cavernoma. I mean, it was like a non-issue. Anyway, it got on 3 years, had IVF, had my little beautiful boy. Forgot about it, completely forgot it was a non-issue. Exactly 3 months later, got another bleed, got a headache. 3 months post-birth of your son. Correct. So pregnancy, I get preeclampsia. So my blood pressure was 180, which makes blood obviously travel to the brain, which makes a vessel burst. And didn't even put two and two together. Not my husband, not my mom. He just made it like a complete non-issue. Went to the hospital again. This time it was level 4 lockdown COVID. I thought, I'm sure it's COVID. They did an MRI and they said, ma'am, sorry, please sit down. You have a tumor on your brain. And that is when I said, oh, I remember I have this little thing called a cavernoma. And I know it's in my thalamus, it's in the center of my brain. They said it's fine, don't worry. Let me go home. Thank you very much.
Were you still in pain?
No, in agony. I said, ma'am, it is bleeding. You need to do an angiogram. An angiogram is they put a needle in your leg and they pump ink of some sort to see the vessels. For some reason in the ER, I was like, no, it's my brain. I need to go to some specialist. Just let me go.
So you refused the angiogram?
Yeah.
But in casualty, you were in emergency, you independently, I just don't know if I want to do those. Yeah.
So I go home, made you say no. I don't trust the doctors in the ER.
They're not specialists at brain or kidney or.
Yeah, like I just think that it's very dangerous if you have anything in the brain, the heart, like any organ, go to a specialist. There was just something like not right. So I left, I went home, I was like settling in, like shit, I've got another bleed in my brain. This is pretty hectic, you know? Anyway, it started, I was like getting me into every neurosurgeon in the country, taking biscuits to Zario and not to visits to every receptionist to get an appointment ASAP because you can't get appointments.
This is that you are now trying to get yourself into a neurosurgeon because you had the headache, you went to the ER, they said it's bleeding, and you're like, I better figure this out.
If you don't want an angiogram, you better go to the nurse.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
So they knew you, they said you can't just eat this.
Yeah.
Fine.
But just to reiterate, people often ask me this, was it like a cluster of headaches? No, it was one severe headache of the bleed. Bleeding in the brain is the most painful thing. And when it stops bleeding, the pain goes. So it subsided, the bleeding kind of like slowed down, but I knew I had a bleed in my brain and I needed to do something. So off I went to Jean Paolo, Zario, anyone that would see me. And basically what every single doctor told me was that they cannot go into this part of the brain. They've never been into the thalamus. It sits above the brainstem. Sim will share some pictures of it. And they've never been there and they don't know how.
I would scream at the stars for keeping us apart, and the government too. Did you know that the continents lie?
However, it is bleeding and I need to do something ASAP. So Dr. Zaria suggested I go to a guy called Michael Lawton in LA. I got on the phone to him straight away and he said to me, Tashi, you have a bleeding cavernoma. You have about 3 days before you have a stroke, coma, or death. I said, okay, stunning. That's great news. Fantastic.
How much time has passed now since the ER? How many days has it been since your ER?
A week. About a week. Okay. Now it is level 4 lockdown. I've got a 3-month-old baby who I'm breastfeeding and I cannot fly to LA to Michael Lawton.
Did he offer you to come there just as an aside?
He said to me to come, but I don't know how.
And also, did he, like, isn't there something about clots and bleeding and flying? Like, wouldn't flying irritate it?
Patients, big complications.
Yeah, so I'm saying getting on the plane in and of itself would have been a risk.
So we put down that phone call and I then sent my MRI to every radiologist I could in the world. Someone in Canada said, you need to remove it. Someone in America said, he's not sure even if it's a cavernoma anymore, it looks. And I said, guys, a cavernoma doesn't turn into a tumor. I don't know what, but I know it's a cavernoma. It's bled and it looks funny, but it's a cavernoma.
And then this was your second bleed or so.
Exactly. And then they started saying the problem is if they go in and it is a tumor on the thalamus and they touch it, it spreads because that part of the brain is like the spine of the brain.
So I was like, this is so stunning. And at this point in the journey, because now you know what you have, but you don't know what you're doing about it. You've got no plan. What's happening amongst yourselves, your friends, your family?
I'm recording sessions and sending them to people because I couldn't actually talk about it. The surgeon, everyone I went to, I was asking for Zainal, and everyone gave me. So I was on 24 hours Zainal, slurring out of it. I realize now it's called fight, flight, or freeze, and I literally disassociated myself from myself. So I'm like stepped out of my body to cope. And I literally felt like I was hovering, looking at the situation. And I think it's better. I think the body does that to cope. I feel like I only recently, like 4 years later, stepped back into my body. And it's a coping mechanism. Like
Your brain does it automatically.
exactly.
It's not like you make a choice to dissociate.
No.
Your brain literally almost switches off and you just go into, you're frozen.
It's like
You are in
not
freeze.
survival.
It's complete survival mode. Just put one foot in front of the other. You're breastfeeding, okay, breastfeed.
Mm.
So how were you with your kids? Did they know?
No, nothing. We didn't know anything. Then my beautiful friend, Karen Hafner, knows a lady who works at Investec. What she does for a living is you phone her and you tell her what you have, and she puts you in touch with the best doctor. That's what she does.
She's like a medical agent.
Exactly. So this Karen Hackner phones me and says to me, Tashi, the surgeon, his name's Chris Proffers, has just arrived in the country from Australia. He's a specialist in the thalamus and he has almost requested to see you. He's seen the scan and I don't know, like that all psychopaths, it's crazy. Like it's like
The doctors are an interesting breed of human.
and the brain surgeons on their own, you've got to be a bit psycho to go into brains, I think. Anyway, the fact that he came, I don't know, divine intervention, that's all I can say. Saw him. He worked under Charlie Taylor, which is a world renowned surgeon in Australia. And he said, Tashi, I can remove it. And I need to do it soon. So off I went to like a lot of MRIs. He sent me on like cut throughs and all these weird things that he did, like scans to check exactly where it is. He had a machine that plotted where it was going to go. Like he said, like, I said to him, what could happen in the heart realistically? He said, like, anything, Tashi, it's the brain. Like, I've got to go into the deepest part of the brain. Like, you could, I don't know, it could lose your vision. The biggest concern was I would be paralyzed because he was crossing over the motor neuron pathways. So that was obviously the biggest fear. Yeah. And also, any brain op is a huge risk of bleeding. A lot of people don't make brain ops because of bleeding.
So they could just be a bleed and stroke out and they don't even get to do what they went in to do.
But saying that, I couldn't leave it. So I had no choice. I really had no choice. At this stage, I was still breastfeeding. I'll never forget, it was the Thursday. I had the op on the 17th, so it was the 14th of February 2021. And he said to me, it's Thursday, we are going in on Tuesday. I'm going to sign full consent. And it was better. I thank God I didn't have time to think too much, research too much. What's mad is I got home from this conversation and my milk was gone. That's like how you know your body's responding
In total shock. And did your milk ever come back? What is that going like that?
No, I mean, I'm still in denial. I get home and phone my lactation specialist.
So I was like, right, sure.
She goes, Tash, mate, you're not feeling anymore, my baby. No.
Go back and I'm there. That's what you do.
Yeah. So that was quite funny.
I understand you were in freeze mode and, your body's gone into this complete shock survival, don't think, don't breathe, don't make any sudden movements. But was there any part of you, because listening to the story just instinctively, maybe it's because I know that you're okay, but I do have this kind of feeling of like it's going to be okay. Did you have that feeling?
So interesting. He looks at me and said to me, Chris Proffers, the surgeon, said I would not do this if I didn't think I could do this. And my husband really utterly believed him. He didn't for 1 second think anything would happen. Like I obviously had concerns and I had
Oh, a huge fear. I called my beautiful psychic. His name's Guru Greg. You have to book a session generally, but I phone him, obviously in a panic, and he answers the phone like this: Tashi, you're going to be okay. What are you talking about? He said, my angel, you got to do it. I said, what? He said, the brain. Shut up. I swear. He said to me, I can see a major bleed. Stop it. No, he's crazy. He basically said to me, you're going to have it. You're going to have a small, like something to overcome, like a small side effect or, yeah, but it's nothing compared to the repercussions if you leave it. From that moment, thank God, I found a saying online that said, I am going to be okay. I literally screenshotted it. Every person that was saying to me what's happening and I'm going to be okay, and I would just send this picture. I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be. And I also think the more you say it, the more you believe it. Oh, my sister-in-law, Ricky, was sending me the most amazing inspirational quotes. She went through a serious trauma. She'd send me inspirational quotes. And I just would say them over and over and again. I went in and they did this 10-hour up. And I'll never forget, I was coming out of sedation or whatever it is, and I heard Chris Profit phone Charlie Taylor in Australia and say, I fucking aced it. And I said, this is the best thing I've ever heard. He then came to me and said to me, he touched my hand on my left side and said, Tashi, you are not paralyzed, thank God, but you have lost feeling on your left side. I was like, okay, cool. Like, lost feeling, not a big issue. I don't care. I don't know. You know what you've lost feeling with. I feel like doctors kind of protect you from yourself and from information. And sometimes that's a good thing, sometimes that's a bad thing. But they say things in such a simplistic way that you go, oh, okay. I think in hindsight, he probably did the right thing. Yes. I think I would have gone into a flat panic. Yes. Which happened later. We're coming out of sedation. I didn't need that. Blood pressure and brain. Yeah. They shaved like a little part of my head, which wasn't bad. But yeah, basically I had to learn to walk again. How long did that take? He made me get up the next day. He said the neurons are so like active and so aware, he wants me to try. And I couldn't actually believe it. Like, guys, I was thinking to myself, move my leg, and it wasn't moving. It was the scariest feeling. You know, when they give you the spinal to give birth before C-section, I don't look down until they finished. I've got the baby, they put the blankets, because you feel them moving your legs. So in my brain, my legs are still in this position. And I remember with my first Caesar, I looked down and they were like this. I got the fright of my life and I did start panicking. It was like my body's not my own. So I can only imagine. No, it's going through that. It's like, it's really unimaginable. But from like the day before being told that I needed like this up, almost anything was like, okay. I was like, it's okay, I'll overcome it. Basically, I had to learn like how hard to lift it. I was lifting it to the sky, my leg. I had to like tap my fingers slowly and slowly. I've got my feeling back. Thank God, 4 years later. It took me about a year to learn to walk. That's insane. That was shocking. And then, what were you doing in that year? How were you functioning? So I initially used like a walker, then I used crutches, and they sent me straight after my aunt to a terrible rehab. And all I wanted to do was go home and see my babies. I had a 4-year-old and a 3-month-old. But they said, you need to learn to walk, you need to learn to sit on a toilet, you need to learn everything. Your leg's more important because you walk with it. Okay, fine. They wanted to keep me like for 6 weeks, and I was so unhappy. I signed all the DOB, it's like refusal of treatment. I said I need to go home. I got like prescribed minimum benefits, which no one tells you about also. It didn't pay me out disability cover, income protection, nothing, because I didn't like disclose that yes, because the doctor at the time said I don't need to. I had a physio, an OT, everyone initially come to the house. Then I would like get friends, I'd Uber to the sessions, and I go, oh, and I'm here. And I'm great. I mean, you say it like that, but it's like, look, I've been for a lot of trauma counseling. I've been a wreck. But you realize that life goes on, and I have beautiful children to live for. The pain that a mother feels being separated from her children against her will. You've got a newborn. You've got a 4-year-old little girl. I'm talking about when normal life starts to set in, but you are not yourself anymore. So I feel like it was harder for me with my daughter because she realized the absence when he didn't really. Thank God in this country I had, a nurse and etc. We told our daughter that I broke my leg because I was walking funny. And I feel like to tell an adult about a brain op is too much to comprehend. To tell a 4-year-old that I'm having a brain op is way too much for her little brain. And she's the sweetest little thing afterwards. She'd say, Ma, since you broke your leg, when you walk, you do a bit of a dance. She says, just follow me. I'll show you how to walk. I'm like, thanks, baby. You're so sweet. Only when she knows, when she's much older, she watches this episode. Yeah. I also think that is the strength of a mother. Is at all costs you shield your children. You probably broke her leg, and you would so happily make fun of yourself, let's say, laugh about the fact that you're walking funny, because normalize it for your child, so your child is fine. While you say that, it's so funny. My mom obviously wanted to do everything she can. She was like my 24-hour nurse. When I got home from the rehab, so sweet, she made me lie in bed and got like all drawing things and coloring things so that Emma wouldn't see me stand, and she could come home and I could straight away like do an activity. Moms are just it's another level. What would you say was the biggest support? Like, what would you say got you through this? Or do you feel like when something comes your way, you don't have a choice? You survive and you get through it. I think that it's like really a decision you have to make is to sink or swim. And I think that everything you go through in life sets you up for what you have to deal with. And I think I've had the tools to deal with it. It's mad, but I swear I think I'm a better person. Did you know you had those tools inside you? No, definitely not. Definitely not. They come out. And I always used to say to people that were diagnosed with cancer or, terrible things, what do you do? And they say, you have no choice. You just do. And you only realize it when you're in it. And it sounds so like, I don't know, silly in a way, like, how? No, I think that is the only real way to relate to it is things like this don't happen to people who've been training their whole lives to survive it. No. You didn't know this was going to happen to you. You had no prior training to survive it. Your body knew I must survive, I must heal. I think I didn't have an amazing husband and the children I had, I don't know if I would have that fight for life. I really had a lot to live for. I think when I was born, my soul knew I probably had to go through this. I don't know. Yes. I have to make the decision that it was meant to be. Yes. I don't want to, I don't know, it's easier that way. I completely understand what you say. It's like you have two choices now that this has happened to you. You can either say it was random, I got bad luck, which is mentally a very difficult paradigm to cope with. Or you can choose this is my journey in life and it had to happen for a reason. And we might not even see it revealed in front of our eyes, but it's for our greater good, even if that might not be so comfortable. And I also think, like, when I look back, I do think Hashem was protecting me from something more. Even now, I think to myself, when I like trip now or when I get stuck at traffic, I think to myself, like, there's a reason something's holding me back. Because I don't think a surgeon arrives in the country when you've been given like 3 days. It just doesn't happen. So I'm meant to be here. Someone recently who nearly died came to me and said, I have this fear of dying. And I said, trust me, if you were going to die, you would have died. I'm here for a long time. Right. And a good time. And I have to gladly make them, which is why we get our look to die. Yes. What are your biggest takeaway? Is there something that you take from this?
I would actually say stay away from toxic people. Really, really try surround yourself with good people. Just try work out who makes you happy, what good energies are, because you realize after this, it's so clear. It's like I was almost given glasses to life. Afterwards, I'm like, that person is not good for me. How did I not see it? When you're down, you realize who's there for you. I think just try surround yourself with really good people. And it's so hard every day. Life's flipping hard. So to try say make the most of every day, I feel like it's almost stupid. But save and make special moments. Try make moments that you're gonna remember. That's all.
Absolutely agree with you. I think life is not the holiday at the end of the year. It's not what's happening tomorrow. Life is right now.
Yeah.
And if right now there's toxic people around me who are draining my energy or making me feel bad about myself, we're all nuts.
Of course, but it's very hard to distance yourself once you realize someone's not good for you. It's very hard. But you have to do what's best for you. That's the truth. And
that's also a survival decision, I feel.
yeah,
you can make that decision in small moments of your life and in big moments of your life. You have to make a decision to survive, end of story. But you can make survival decisions in small things that impact the everyday fabric of your existence.
100%.
That's also what we bonded over at dancing, was we can't do bullshit. Just like, can't do it.
Real. Yeah.
Be real. Well, I could say that both of us have survived. Hooray, to 38. It's going to look 28.
Yeah.
Until we are 128. That's it. Goodbye, everyone. Hey, goodbye, Cedric.
Goodbye.
Okay, let's just check that.